Hey, good morning. It's Bob, Trade Genius. It's the 21st of April, Saturday, and I'm going to go through a bunch of charts this weekend, but I'm just going to start off by going through the top 10 or 15 ETFs and just giving you my perspective, and just also to remind you how I look at the market is that I like to look at money flow, and I like to look at its standard deviation from the what I call the center of gravity, which is the moving volume weighted average price, and that's why I look to trigger my trades. And so all earlier last week and the week before, we were writing a calendar and vertical spreads on calls on SPY all the way up. And on Wednesday we closed that trade, and on Thursday we flipped to a vertical on the well, it's actually really a diagonal, which we bought the actually I did a calendar, so we bought the 266 for next Friday, or this Friday now coming, and then we sold the 266 for this Friday, and we put that trade on as soon as I had a flip here in my reversal dots, and then so that trade actually worked out really well. And so I rolled the SPY puts into Monday on a calendar, and the reason I did that versus anything else is that we're still above VWAP here, and so if the market feels like it's weak, but this is really a consolidation and a trade, and the moving VWAP is moving up and it's above it, so we're not really in distribution mode per se in SPY. So I'm running with the calendar, and then on Monday I'll take a look to see where it is, but I think at some point we'll probably touch 265, and then we'll see if we bounce from there, if we drive down. And how you play the VWAP is that it likes to launch off of there, and then just think of this as, if any of you guys ever work out with bands, is that the farther you stretch out when you're running and somebody's holding those bands on you, the farther you get away from that point of control, the harder it is. You run out of oxygen, and that's the same that works here. You can see down here it just pushed too hard, up here it just pushed too hard, and it's going to come back in. So there's two ways I play it. Is I'll do calendars and verticals, and I'll do credit spreads too, and that's also a good way to recover your trade. If it does mess up on you, you can just flip it into a credit spread to reduce the amount of loss that you'd have on a trade. And you can do this with any of the really liquid ETFs, and it's just a nice way to trade it with a small amount of money. If you have a couple $1,000s, you can make a couple $1,000s. I think the SPY trade, I was trading with 10 contracts, and then for the week, I think that trade paid me 150% return, which is not bad. So with very little risk, and so I just want to point that out to you. I won't be so verbose on all of these. I just want to kind of give you a sense. I trade SPY a lot. I like it because I trade binary options too, and so I'm always looking at ES and SPY during the trading day. So flipping over, the next one usually is. This is interesting. It's GDX. So GDX has been the same way. It's pushed higher, and then last 2 days it's come back down. And what's interesting here is, I think you have to note is that the 10-year moved up, and so that's putting pressure on the miners. But once again, GDX is above VWAP. It's a rising VWAP, and so here you'd have been, you could do the same thing with calendars. Or if you're building a position like I am in silver, is that you look for VWAP or even one of these levels below to enter new positions. So we already wrote our GDX trade out, and so now I'm looking for an opportunity to get back in again. But I have no trade on it at the moment. Okay, financials are interesting. They held it up, and it looks the same way. And believe it or not, you'd be selling puts here, But I don't trade XLF that much. I have it up here more just to look at the health of the market. What's pushing the financials up is as interest rates go up, they think they're going to make more money. But if you've seen all the charge-off rates on credit cards and the like, I think this will be a short-lived phenomenon, and I think the financials are going to start suffering again. Okay, so TVIX is and just volatility in general is that, and I'm sure VXX or UVXY will come up. If not, I'll put it up. But when you get a turnover like this in TVAX here is that you can just sell credit spreads against volatility until the model flips on you. And what I said last week is I was a day early jumping out of my trade because it just collapsed the next day. But this trade has obviously been overdone now, and I think we're having a two-way volatility market now. So I only would recommend TVIX if you're using it as a hedge, but I wouldn't be using it as a trading vehicle unless you'd like to day trade it. But it's way overdone at the moment. Okay, the Qs, same way. I think you're going to see this pattern just in general. So some of this stuff could be options week related, but the Qs are just coming back down to VWAP, and I wouldn't put any credence into any kind of sell-off until it starts operating from the bottom side of that dark blue line. Okay, so here's VXX. So a trade that you could take is literally, you could be just selling credit spreads against this until you get a flip in the model here, and then jump out of it. And so it's a nice way to earn income, and it's not as easy as it's been in the last couple of years because that was such a one-way market, but it's still a nice trade. And but once it gets below this line here, you probably would want to just take the trade off, and that's what I did, and then it plunged the next day. But I used my discipline, and so people have different ways of doing it. But we had a great trade on the VXX in the past, and now it's overdone. It's coming back in again, and this is what you have to watch. If volatility comes back, everything else will suffer because the way the risk managers work, they have to take money off the table as risk rises. Okay, UVXY will look very similar, and it does. And then here's the China market. So China broke down below its moving average, and I think China's in trouble. So I'll probably look into to get some puts on this trade on the next flip of the dots. And I think there, one thing that people, and I don't get it, people think China's the next world leader. China is absolutely like eating cotton candy. They flooded their system with so much debt, and they have a closed economy, and now they're getting pressure from America on the trade balances, and I just think China is in big trouble. Whenever politicians are in charge of your economic policy, it causes weakness. This is one I want to get into, but now I can wait, hopefully to get. I've been so focused somewhere else, I totally missed this opportunity for the energy plays. And then I'm going to show you one more. Here is on the gold side. It's pretty gold. They've been trying to pound out. I'm going to make a prediction. Gold, if not this year, but within the next 12 months, gold will be pushing back towards the highs. And so I think there's a lot of pressure building in the system here that the liquidity is going to be moving out of the stock market and moving into gold and silver and the miners. And that's what I'm going to finish up on here is with the some of the miners here is AG. We own it. I've been waiting to add, and I'm still gonna wait. I'm not gonna add to it unless it breaks below. So my whole viewpoint for this year is silver miners are going to be the trade of the year, and I think that's where you have to build your portfolio for the future. We have Hecla, it's doing really nice. One I missed that I'll get back into when it gives me a chance is Goro, and when this thing rock and rolls, you want to have EXK doing well. You want to have Great Panther too, and that's already popped up too. And so I think you get my point. I think right now, looking into next week, I think the market will push down into VWAP, and then we'll just have to wait and see. Market's not really excited about the earnings reports. In fact, a lot of them are selling off. So we'll just have to wait and see. But in the meantime, I'm staying with the calendar spreads on SPY. Not looking to enter too many trades until I get a sense for a flush, or if we look like we're going to have more of a sustained move higher. Anyways, Bob from Trade Genius. I look to do 3 or 4 more videos this weekend. Cryptos are moving. I'm going to talk a little bit about binary options, just some really easy ways to make money trading with Nadex, and then I'll point out where I think where some future areas of interest for us besides the silver miners are. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.